Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Slow English Podcast. Today we have a special video with Donald Trump again. Yes, the American president. In this video, he discusses his relationship with NATO and other European powers. As we know, the US and Israel are going through a war in Iran, and Trump is disappointed by the help he has received from NATO and other allied forces. Let's take a look. All right, here we can see Donald Trump is sitting in an interview and he will be asked a bunch of questions. Let's take a look.
Mr. President, it's a very hard course, Mr. President.
What progress have you made, Mr. President, in getting America's allies to assist the U.S. in escorting those oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, we don't need too much help, and we don't need any help, actually. In fact, we just put out a notice. I was watching over the last couple of weeks, and all of our NATO allies were very much in favor of what we did. They thought it was very important. We were just discussing it, actually. Very important that we take out the nuclear threat from Iran, and we've done that very strongly, very powerfully. We've wiped out their Navy, wiped out their military in every aspect. Their Air Force is now decimated. They have no Air Force, no Navy. They have no radar. Their radar is entirely gone. Their anti-aircraft machinery is gone. Everything is gone. Their leaders are gone. I guess one of their top person was, they say, a lot of people say their actual top was killed yesterday, along with somebody else who was responsible for the killing. The man that was responsible for the killing of 32,000 people over the last 2 weeks, he was in charge of the killing of protesters. It's an evil group. I mean,
All right, so here Donald Trump was asked the question, how do you feel about how your American allies have been helping with the war in Iran? And Donald Trump began the sentence saying he doesn't think he needs any help. It would be nice if he could have help from his NATO and other allies across the world, but he thinks that America can handle the situation themselves. Also, he follows with he doesn't really understand because all of the NATO and other allies around the world were in support of him going to war against Iran. They supported it, but they supported it verbally and not either financially or with military help. I think he's kind of disappointed in his allies. What do you think? Do you think European and other NATO allies should join Donald Trump in this fight against Iran, or should they stay out of it? Let's continue.
killed much more than 32,000 people, and the man who was responsible for that was also killed yesterday. And all of the NATO allies agreed with us, but they don't want to, despite the fact that we help them so much. We have thousands of soldiers in different countries all over the world, and they don't want to help us, which is amazing. I mean, amazing. And I didn't do a full court press because I think if I did, they probably would be. But we don't need help. That war has been long prosecuted, as far as I'm concerned, almost from day one. We knocked out many of these things. We knocked out the Navy essentially in a couple of days. But I was surprised to see that NATO, while they agreed that it was a very important thing to do, they agree fully. Nobody said, "Oh, you shouldn't do it." They would have had a nuclear weapon within 1 month of when we had the B-2 bombers bomb the nuclear potential. I call it the nuclear dust.
All right, so now he's again critiquing, giving critique to the NATO and European allies. He's saying that all the European allies were for the invading of Iraq, of Iran, going to war with Iran. He said if the US wouldn't have stepped in, they would have had a nuclear weapon in Iran within 2 months. But now that he's asking for military help and the NATO and other allies are not willing to give him the help. So he seems kind of confused, but he also says we didn't need to put a lot of pressure on them. We could have, and if we did, they would have helped us, but we didn't need to. We could handle this situation on our own.
So I think NATO's making a very foolish mistake. And I've long said that, I wonder whether or not NATO would ever be there for us. So this was a great test because we don't need them, but they should have been there. The other thing is, and I think, very important, we didn't have to be there for Ukraine. Biden chose to spend hundreds of billions of dollars on Ukraine. And I guess the head of Germany just made a statement that, well, they weren't involved and they have nothing to do with the war. But at the same time, they think we did a great thing by knocking them out. Nobody wants to have Iran or anybody, but nobody wants to have Iran with a nuclear, because these people are crazy. They're absolutely crazy. And
He's saying he doesn't understand the help that NATO and other allies won't help because everybody agrees that Iran can't have nuclear weapons. But he feels like America is the only country that will actually do something about the nuclear weapon program in Iran, which is to go to war and cut off all of the resources for Iran to continue their nuclear weapon program and also to dethrone the current leaders of Iran.
vicious, violent. I mean, they killed, think of it. They killed, now I hear it's about 41,000 people. They put out a notice 2 days ago. Anybody that protests will be immediately shot and killed. That's pretty tough stuff. So everyone agrees with us, but they don't want to help.
And he's saying that Iran, the leader of Iran, killed over 40,000 protesters. And everybody in the world, except for America, doesn't care that peaceful protesters were being killed in Iran, and he feels like he was the only one to step up and help these protesters. And how do you feel? Do you feel like Europe should be more involved? Do you think Europe should be less involved? Do you think, whatever you think, leave it in the comments below. Let's continue.
We as the United States have to remember that because we think it's pretty shocking.
All right, great video with Donald Trump. We got great vocabulary words like protester, war, weapons, nuclear weapons program, and much other words, and a lot of other words. Thank you very much for watching today. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe below, and I'll see you tomorrow in the next video. Au revoir.